Hello, friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. Hope everybody is doing awesome out there today.
Indeed, we do.
So, we want to thank all the support that we've been getting over at Patreon as the Patreon family is growing. And, we feel very, very blessed by that and just want to share that helps us help others too. As, today, for instance, we'll be working on 3 different people, and we typically do a monetary thing. We hate to do the monetary thing, but hey, you still got to pay your bills, so to speak. So we are still in the system. We're not totally out of the system. We're working towards that. But like, for instance, with today, all 3 of these are basically, what would you say, pro gratis? Is that what you would say? So we will do for others as much as we possibly can. And of course, everybody goes through different periods where things are tough and tight, and we totally understand that, and we want to help people out. And so, when there's people that we've worked with that we know that truly appreciate us, we'll definitely work with them and won't ask for anything in return. But they do support us in other ways, and that's the reality. And in times past when things weren't so tight, then monetarily they would support as well. But this is what we have to shift to as a planet. And we have to recognize that, again, it's through the money system that they control us. It really, really is. When you get to the bottom line, if you eliminate the monetary system and the entire world was operating on some sort of barter and trade, they wouldn't be able to control us. They would have to use outright force. And any illusion that they've given us of freedoms and liberties, democracy, etc., would just be gone.
And that's right, and I think sometimes we have to be creative and trust that the energy comes around when it's needed, and just be very, very grateful for that, and trust in the universe to help keep things on the up and up. And Patreon, you guys, it really, really helps us help so many others. I can't stress that enough.
Absolutely. So when we see this, the oncology market size to hit in just the U.S., $581.25 billion by 2030, the growth is staggering. And it's expected to grow exponentially. Yes, unless you've had your head under a rock somewhere, we must understand that these turbo cancers are everywhere. The cancer field is just such an enormous business, a huge business. It's pretty much half of it's a little bit more than half of what the U.S. Entire U.S. budget is, as far as expenditures for the year. This is big business at the biggest levels.
And this isn't something that we really pull up or look at a lot. It's just we decided to do this today, and we pulled up how big the business is, and it's huge.
Well, we always knew it was. Again, we've all lost people. I think all of us probably know somebody that died of cancer. And for me, it hit home, because my brother, when he was 5 years old, was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Now, the deeper I've gone into things, the more I realize what the likely cause of that brain tumor was, which ultimately was the system. And he died at 16 years old, way before his time. And, that was just a horrible thing for the entire family to go through. 11 years of a young, boy just going through misery and having a very, very hard time growing up. It affected him in so many different ways. His balance, his equilibrium. He had seizures regularly. And my mother was, an amazing caregiver, just amazing. I always thought you couldn't get a better mom than my mom, really. And the household was always peaceful too. It was just always a beautiful sense of peace in the house, even though that was obviously very traumatic. And then, of course, we had the plague upon the land. And this is from Dr. Peter McCullough. And, we understand the connection. There's obviously a connection. And, the writing over here, I won't say it out loud, obviously, because it'll trigger the AI, but the AI is going to see this also. We're suffering from a plague of toxicity, is what it is. This whole world's environment is so purposefully toxic. There is one purpose for that. And number one is to keep our life expectancy limited, because we would live so much longer without the system than with. And that's just my personal opinion. But many people, I think, are starting to realize this. Again, if you look at stats, you'll find that the medical system itself, most sources will say it's first, second, or third as far as the leading causes of death. The medical system itself. And in fact, I know several wise people that will avoid the DR at all costs. And I've even gotten that from the guides myself when I was a kid. It would all of a sudden pop up into my head from out of nowhere. Do you really want to go to the DR? Well, no. Who wants to go to the DR in reality? But, I've seen so much pain and suffering when it comes to this. And I've shared with you guys, I spent about 3.5, 4 years working for a pharmaceutical company. Well, not a pharmaceutical production company. I should say more of a pharmacy, a home health care pharmacy. And what we did was basically a lot of in-home health care for people with terminal illness. And I've seen those people myself. I've knocked on the doors and been greeted into the house of other little ones with quote-unquote terminal cancer, with bald heads and just suffering families. And when I look at the results, so often they weren't positive. Yet at the same time, when we've seen miracles, it's been for the most part, people that have gone with alternative treatments. People that have gone the natural route. And we've shared cases of that with you guys over the years. We think of one man in particular that was a blessing to us to get to know, Jeff. Just amazing. Stage 4, 3 months or so left, 3 to 4 months. That's all you got, so spend time wisely with your little kids and your wife. No, he's still here now, like 15, 16 years after, and he's healthier than ever. He went and did his own research. He didn't take their recommendations, and he totally recovered, healthier than ever.
Mm-hmm. And that's one wonderful and beautiful story that we were really happy to be part of. And I think one of the struggles that he really came up against wasn't just his own kind of internal fear and going against the typical belief system, the medical system. That's scary enough. He also, his family, of course, his family loves him, and they were concerned too. So it's like he really had to pull it together and go out on a limb and do some different things, and it worked. It worked. But my gosh, the energy that was mounted against him, not just personally, but through his family, that was a big deal, because it's those ones that are close to us that we really, really need their support. And sometimes they think that, if we don't go along with this certain system, we're just killing ourselves. So they're actually afraid of us. They're afraid they're going to lose us. So they're kind of pushing back with their whole heart and soul, thinking they're doing the right thing.
Yes, absolutely. And, we can see that Well, plain and simple, medicine has failed us, and they are failing us every single day. Again, life expectancy is in decline, fertility is in decline, miscarriages are just going through the roof, and all sorts of things that are showing that the system is either not very good at what it's doing, or it is very good at what it's doing, and it's not doing what we think it's doing. Ah, yes. So, this is also obviously something that's going on a big scale. And the entire world has woke up and found that a huge portion of this world, massive portion, has immune deficiency problems. All these things are, again, leading to the conditions in which cancer can grow and spread really, really rapidly. And again, I still am haunted by one of our family members, that she asked our opinion. We gave her our opinion. We worked with her energetically, and her family pressured her to go the routine route. And, within 2 years, she was gone. And, it's just sad. And it does make me feel like, you want to start crying when you realize that trust really should have to be earned. And it should be the result of looking at the evidence. How successful have they really been? That's a big question, because people just unfortunately have trusted blindly for far too long. Swiss insurance data shows a 100% increase of cancer medication receipts since the start of a certain thing. It's good for business, obviously. What's better for business than repeat customers? And people earn that in most cases. Hey, you make a great pizza, we only come back to you. Hey, you fixed our plumbing, you fixed the electrical, you didn't overcharge us, or whatever. It was actually less than you thought it was going to be. You totally earned our trust. We're going to come back to you. This guy's a great mechanic. We only take our cars to him, etc., etc., etc. When we put so much blind faith in the system to deliver, and it doesn't deliver, it delivers the opposite. You're looking for health and healing, and it's delivering the Grim Reaper. There's something seriously, obviously, very, very wrong. And it's everywhere. It's everywhere. We are surrounded in this toxicity. Jeanette Toomer was diagnosed with stage 4 endometrial cancer after decades of using formaldehyde-based relaxers. This is for her hair product, hair straighteners. Yeah, be aware that you can absorb toxins through your hair, through your skin. People don't even think. I think back to when the first antimicrobial hand washes and stuff came out. That was another item that was going to have a huge effect on people's health. Because, again, like taking antibiotics, which destroy everything, because antibiotics, anti-life, it's the same thing with these products that we clean our dishes with, thinking, oh, they're going to be sparkling clean. But then it makes its way into our system. It disrupts the balance of our flora in our body. How many people have gut problems? How many people have absorption problems where they might be taking in enough nutrients, but they're not absorbing them? Again, all these imbalances do also lead to things like cancer and all sorts of other issues, from chronic fatigue, and again, how many people have been exposed to Epstein-Barr? It's like almost everybody, 80% or better of the population, and you might be told, well, you have Epstein-Barr, syndrome, Epstein-Barr V. The reality is everybody's been exposed to these conditions. How healthy is the inside of your body? How well is it functioning? Are you acidic? Are you overly acidic? Because if your pH balanced just like a pool, you ever test a pool and you'll see too acidic and it's all green, and you have to raise the alkalinity, and then the green can't grow anymore. And okay, now it's starting to get clear. It's the same thing with our bodies. But we are getting blasted from everything. There's so many things they said were perfectly okay. No, microwaves are not okay. So much of the non-stick cookware, hey, this is great. We don't have to scrape and scrub. It just comes right off. Yeah, toxic. I mean, it goes on and on and on. There's so many things that we've been exposed to. Hey, it's great. No more dandelions. Yeah. Roundup. Yeah, it's just horrible. And then when you see how little doctors really know, like how much do doctors know about nutrition? We were just talking to somebody that was just telling us that their doctor knew doo-doo when it came to nutrition. But this should be obvious. I mean, have we looked at the health czars in so many nations? Why is it they seem to be chronically obese? Why is it they look pale as a ghost? Why is it that they're not the prime example of health themselves? Because they're following their system. Yeah, I mean, we used to have a neighbor that was a brain surgeon. He would put down like a fifth of whiskey, like every few days. Not good, not healthy. But on average, U.S. medical schools offer only 19.6 hours of nutrition education over 4 years of medical school. You're talking less than 5 hours a year. That's ridiculous of nutrition. Physician, heal thyself. This has been going on for a very long time. And you see the National Academy of Sciences recommended at least 25 hours of nutrition education in medical school a year. That's a joke. What we take into our body is pretty much the most important thing when it comes to health. And you're only going to spend 25 hours or 20 hours and less than that on understanding how nutrition works. That's just pure insanity. It's pure insanity. 37% of medical schools had a single course in nutrition. Only 37%. That was 30 years ago. So 70% didn't offer any courses. Is that not crazy? It should hit you as crazy. And again, when the doctors will say, now make sure that you go out and get your Ensure, because you have cancer. And the first ingredient is water, which, again, this is probably non-filtered water. It's probably loaded with chlorine, fluoride, toxic heavy metals, etc., etc., etc. Corn, maltodextrin, which is sugar, and then sugar. And then a blend of vegetable oils, including canola. I mean, there's so many things. Carrageenan is another thing that can cause cancer. Look at this. This is absolute crap. This is crap. This is toxic in itself. Okay, so, your system's having problems. It's not operating well at all. In fact, basically when we have cancer, it's like the entire system is imploding. And they're adding to that, making sure that you ensure, well, I don't know, a plot in a nice location, maybe a few flowers and a good tombstone. This is insane. It is absolutely insane. And you could see here, there's plenty of articles that tell you starving cancer by cutting off its favorite foods, glucose, sugar, and glutamine is something that could help. Absolutely. You want to starve cancer of the fuel, and you want to create the environment in which it can't grow. Most of us are way too acidic, not alkaline enough, so we want to change that. We want to balance our own pHs. And we want to cut off its food supply. And so this is going also into glutamine, and how this is also why people will end up wasting away, because the body will end up breaking down muscle mass in order to have the amount of glutamine that the cancer wants to burn. Glutamine's amino acid, by the way. So, it's so sad, the situation. The reality is, it's like taking your car to a mechanic in so many ways, but the mechanic has studied something else.
And I think the frustration for so many people is, once you realize that Western medicine isn't doing it, so you look to alternatives, and you're standing there in the store and you're looking at all these alternatives that are supposed to be healthy. When you go to look at the ingredients, there's just one thing after the next that, it puts you between a rock and a hard spot. Our advice is definitely don't go into the middle of the store. Just go around the perimeter, get your whole foods. I think, become, I call them jerfs. Just eat real food. Don't try to get anything else with any other ingredients just to start, because we need to really give the body a break. And then other people are running into problems where, okay, they're going to get good food, but the income is limited, and they're not able to get the organic for one reason or another. It's just not available to them, which is horrible. At that point, I think if I were looking at something as serious as that, I'd probably go to a store manager and say, hey, look, this is my situation. This is what I need to do. Is there anything this store can implement that can actually help me? And you never know. You might be saving many other lives besides your own. You might be saving a plethora of other people that are going to walk through those doors in hopes to get something better for themselves, just to find out at the end, well, they can't get it right now. That's just wrong. So what else do we do? There's other things that can be done, and we look at these health issues, and it is the buildup of toxins, and toxins come in many, many different forms. So one, yes, we look at the diet and we just eat real food. Do what it takes to get that real food. The other thing we can do is, if we're just simply not doing very good on the food front, look in your environment and start cutting out toxins. There's those pretty smelly things that people plug into their walls, and Febreze has them, and there's a few others, and they just make the room smell so good, and sometimes it's Christmassy. Those are very bad. Those are going into your lungs. It's kind of penetrating into the cell walls and everything like that. Look at your toothpaste. Go to just coconut oil and tea tree. Baking soda. And also, even when it comes to your clothes, your laundry, the laundry soap that you wash your clothes in is constantly touching your skin, and that's also putting toxins inside of your body. For the most part, I use baking soda and vinegar in my washer and dryer. And if it's a tough load, I might throw in some what's that other white stuff? Borax. So that can help whiten clothes. But there's so many other things that we can do to clean up our environment. That's going to help lighten the toxic load on the body.
Yes, absolutely. There are many, many lay people out there that know a hell of a lot more about nutrition than DRs. And, for me, it's just been a passion since I was a little kid, because I was an obese little kid. In 4th and 5th grade, I got picked on incessantly. After the end of 6th grade, I saw a Chuck Norris movie, and the Incredible Hulk series was on TV. And I begged my mom, and I said, if I make enough money on my paper route, etc., can I go to karate and start taking karate classes? She said, sure. And then I also got money for my birthday, and I bought a weight bench, and the health bug was with me ever since that time at 12 years old. And that's also when I really started to even study about nutrition, but also pranic healing, Reiki, Qigong. I started studying even at that age because I was drawn to alternative health at a very early age. And the reality is, alternative health is the natural way of doing things. This is Dr. Otto Warburg, 1931 Nobel Prize winner for cancer discovery. No disease, including cancer, can exist in an alkaline environment. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. So again, you want to starve it into submission, and you want to create the environment in which it can't thrive. What the system does is it creates the environment in which all diseases can thrive by destroying the terrain. The terrain is our bodies, and our bodies are reflecting the environment outside there, from the fake clouds to the pesticides and things. Again, you might say, and I've heard so many people say, I can't afford to buy organic. Well, can you afford a cancer treatment? What's the average? I forget what it is. How much does the average person going into cancer end up owing? I mean, it's like $250,000 or more. It's huge. I'll look it up.
We look at insurance, and insurance is going to pay a part of it, but still, I mean, that's a really big amount that goes into someone's pocket when they're deciding to sell this chemo. But if you start to add it up, the alternative methods, and there's so many different ways, and that's another thing that people face, that challenge. It's like they go to alternative, and there's like this fire hose of information, and you get knocked down with so much information. It's like, which way do I turn? Then when you start go look for things that are going to help you, and sometimes there's ingredients in those capsules that you don't want to be putting in your body, so you got to look after that too. I mean, there's a lot. It's overwhelming. But when you're really faced with this, you have to look at the bigger picture. You just have to keep looking at the bigger picture. You need to research. You need to ask friends. You need to, find somebody who's been through it and get some help. Just do what it takes. And when you're going to alternative medicine, say you want to do something with plant medicine and change what you're getting, the scripts from a doctor, yes, you're going to have to pay for that out of pocket, but at the same time, you're going to save in those co-pays that you have to go to the doctor. You're going to save in prescription co-pays. You're going to save in the long run. So when it's really serious, it's like, yeah, you get serious and you find ways.
Well, average chemotherapy costs could vary anywhere between $10,000 to $200,000 a year or more. It was saying just what does the average cancer cost per person is. It's $600 the average American spends towards cancer treatment is one of those stats that came up. Ketogenic diet and cancer. The ketogenic diet's basically 65 to 70% fat, about 25-30% protein, and carbs 5%. And the ketogenic diet could absolutely help with keeping cancer out of control. When I think growing up, all we ever heard was, low fat, no fat. Like fat is the big horrible thing. Saturated fats, what's your cholesterol like and all that. Fat makes you fat. Nothing could be farther really from what we now know. And, if you eat healthy fats, the good fats are amazing for healing the body and mind.
Can I just add in there too, when it comes to your body needing fat, it needs fats to basically function. So if you are bringing in the negative fats, the body needs it so badly to function. It will hold on to those really horrible fats just so it can function. So you really have to be putting in the good fats so the body will release the bad fats. And keep in mind, if your body is releasing or purging, you might have some reactions for that. But it's because things have to get worse sometimes before they get better. But please keep that in mind. Avocado oil, flaxseed oils, the fish oils. There's so many different good fats that we need to be putting in our body so our bodies can do their job.
Absolutely. Tumor cells convert high amounts of glucose into energy and a byproduct of glycolysis called lactic acid. Ketogenic diet suppresses insulin-like growth factor, IGF-1, and this molecule is associated with the formation and progression of cancerous cells. And, again, when we've talked to many people about this. What did you do as far as diet? Now, talking to people that have been recently diagnosed, And well, the doctor gave me Ensure, and kind of let them know about that. What does your diet look like? Well, we try to eat pretty healthy, but I still, most of the time don't have a lot of time, so I just make a quick sandwich. Oh, okay, what do you put in that sandwich? Well, whatever it is, bologna, white bread. Do you know how cancer causing all that is? And when
Feeds it.
it just feeds it. Nitrates. You don't want to have any luncheon meats with nitrates. And then there's organic luncheon meats that you could get over at Walmart and the clubs, but then you look at them farther down and you'll see carrageenan in it, because they're going to get you one way or another with the cancer-inducing ingredients. This is just what the system is. It's what the system does. And so you have to really be looking at every little ingredient. This is why, like Cindy would say, eat real foods. Eat avocados. Now look at the label on the avocados, because now they're spraying them, organic or not, with Gil Bates's A-peel and Organapeel. I think the other one is something like that, which seeps into the meaty part of it. Then you consume it, then you have that toxin, which is going to lead to more of this. The system is so obviously it's created to not take out the trash. You know what I'm saying. Here's 10 alkalizing foods to help balance your pH. And you might think lemons are acidic, but they are very alkalizing. So, again, these are things that you can utilize. Absolutely. We only use pink Himalayan salt. And I can't tolerate regular salt anymore. It just is gross. And you'll start to notice this as you move away from all the toxins. They'll no longer be appealing. You might say, oh, I just need this, I just need that. It's the parasites in your body that are telling you to go out and buy the junk food. So you can feed them, and they'll help you to an early demise.
Yeah, I know that's like a very disturbing thought, but that's another thing that our Western medical system, they just don't want to talk about it, or they don't know about it, is parasites. I mean, they cause all kinds of grief in the body. So when you are trying to get better and you hear that little whisper in the back of your head, well, you're too tired, or you're too this, or you're too that, let's just make it easy. That's not you. These are these other little buggers in your body, and they're louder if you're a channel. They're louder, so it makes it harder. It makes it so difficult. But it's doable. I'm here to say, and Mike's here to say, we're both here to say it's doable, but you really have to be determined and dedicated, and just keep going, and if you do fall backwards and fall off the wagon, get back on. Just don't worry about it. Start wherever you're at and just get back on. And this is Barbara O'Neill, and I really like her. She has a lot of very, very valuable information. I could sit and just watch hours of her. She's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So she recommends, again, you want to cut out the simple sugars, and that even includes fruit. Now, if you're going to do fruit, do limited amounts of, like blackberries, for instance, pomegranates. Those two are two really good items you can utilize. But you want to starve it out. So, avocados, make sure, again, they don't have the toxins sprayed on it. I could not find any lemons and limes in this one store locally. They didn't have any organic. None of them didn't have a spray on them, a coating. So, it's just one of those things. You wherever you can, make sure you are getting organic, and absolutely get away from those middle aisles, all the processed aisles. So, no processed foods, just learn how to do things a little bit simpler. And if you are a vegetarian, it is more challenging to do a keto diet. It's very challenging, because then you're going to have to rely a lot on nuts. And it's one of those things. Well, you might be eating alternative veggie burgers and things like that. But then there's so many other things in there. And you start running into that, okay, there's 10 items, 12 items, 16 items. So you got to look really, really careful. And of course, you want to avoid GMO soy and GMO corn, anything GMO. And, again, with the meats too, they've done studies showing how meat and cancer there could be a strong correlation. But when you omit the meats that are hit with antibiotics, hormones, steroids, all sorts of different things, what are the animals fed? If they're fed toxins, they're going to be toxic. So it's pretty simple. But I'll give you guys the link to this because, again, this is a really good source of wealth of information. Again, white rice burns a little bit quickly. White pasta, if it's genetically modified, which you got to assume it is unless it says organic, certified. And even at that, we have to take that with a grain of salt. All the pasta out there, all the corn out there, for the most part, is genetically modified unless it, clearly states otherwise. And then we still got to be skeptical. So, try to eat as clean as possible. It's all about changing the environment, and we just wanted to do that quick share with you guys. If you are, again, vegetarian or vegan, does make it much, much more challenging. You'd be relying on coconut products, for the healthy oils, the avocados for the healthy oils, nuts and seeds, again, to get you some protein. It is much more challenging, but we all should be really loading up on real good veggies for your nutrition. That is one of our favorite things. Cindy was going through severe anemia, so we had been eating vegetarian. We shifted, and it helped to correct it. And we've tried many different things as well. In the past, I've been a personal trainer and specialized in fitness nutrition. I've done rehab with people for different injuries and things like that, and I've always been around the health and wellness lifestyle and circles per se. But I did share with you my experiences also in that one position where I had many discussions with people that were very intelligent and pharmacists, and would ask them, hey, if this was you, would you do this? Meaning going the traditional route. And perhaps the most intelligent one of the bunch, he was like, no. But he was prescribing it and filling out orders for it, even though he wouldn't do it himself. Well, that brings to mind what we just saw with 11,000, was it 11,000 different E-lights that were told to give these dates for men to everybody, but then they themselves didn't do it themselves. This system has been in place a really long time, and I know it could be very, very hair-raising.
It can, and there's going to be challenges, and if you choose to go the alternative route, it's going to challenge you. It's definitely going to challenge your patience, your time, but this is what it takes. And if you're going through something and Western medicine isn't getting you anywhere, well, you kind of got to choose your suck. It's going to be hard, but what are the chances of things going well with Western medicine? From what we've seen, from what I have seen, I wouldn't do it no matter what I was faced. And I have been faced with some pretty serious things, and I did put in the time, the effort, and I still do what it takes, because sometimes I still have problems, but I fix them, and I've done it alternatively, all of it. And I have an auntie who has done it too. And, I have people in my life that I can look up to and I can turn to for courage. the family support system, a friend support system is so, so critical. And, before we go, medical grade ozone, I have to throw it in there because, boy, it really needs to be out into the consciousness more than it is. It's like a 70 plus year old type of medicine that is so good and wonderful. I would really suggest everyone look up medical grade ozone.
Absolutely. So again, guys, we want to thank you for your support over on Patreon. Stay prepared. Keep learning new things and understanding. And again, it wouldn't take you long to have much more of a nutritional foundation than most MDs out there. Source bless. Namaste.
Namaste.